It is Monday, the 13th of February, 2023. It is 8:30 p.m. and this is We Love 45's Cambridge Talk Show. We're doing a great event coming up at the end of February in Cambridge, and I thought it'd be a really good idea to speak to my co-organiser and person who sort of came up with the original idea and put this together, Miss Chivers. And also, we're doing this in aid of SOS Chlldrens Villages. We always do charity link up with most of our events, and we've got Josh from the charity to talk about it and tell us a bit more about it. But here we go. We've got Yvette and Josh. How you guys doing?
Hiya, all good.
Very good.
Great to see you both. Thanks, firstly, for being part of this event. It's going to be a fun event. Just under 2 weeks now, so it's coming up fast.
It is.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be a good idea to have a little chat, get an idea of what's happening, and then get an idea of the chat of the charity as well. But let's start from the beginning. So, Yvette, we'd had some discussions initially, and we'd sort of said that it might be a good idea to do something in Cambridge, and you sort of have done all the legwork at your end. So tell us a little bit about the venue and the sort of Cambridge music scene and things like that.
Gosh, where do you want me to start? So let's start with the venue. So, well, the Cambridge music scene, actually, start there. It's a really good scene. It's very, very condensed. There's lots going on, but it's very condensed within certain areas. There's a lot of genres in terms of music. Very kind of house, drum and bass, I think, led, especially at the moment. Previously, like it was quite, well, my experience is quite a kind of party scene, raver town. We obviously you've got your commercial kind of towny clubs and stuff, but where I got into it was all the kind of raves and all those kind of parties. And there's, I mean, for example, me and my sister have like 400, 500 friends in common on Facebook, and most of those are Cambridge. So it shows you the scene that's here.
Right. Okay.
Which is quite crazy.
Yeah.
And so there's a really good scene. But over the past kind of, I don't know, 10 years, it has become a little bit more difficult to find decent venues, to run independent events out. There's pockets of them, but it's become, I think any city has been having those issues as well. A lot of venues have shut down due to whatever reason, especially after lockdown. But the Orator, it was shut obviously during lockdown, but it's a really good venue because they do allow independent events, and it's in the centre of Cambridge. The history of the Orator, I can't remember what it was called before, but it's a restaurant bar, ground level, but it's right in the middle of Cambridge behind the Round Church, if anyone knows what that is. And it is also kind of part of the student union, the Cambridge University Student Union. And previously, a lot of the time, there's a big town and gown split. You can't really link the town with the gown. That's what it's kind of known in Cambridge as town and gown. Yeah. But with this venue, you can. So you can literally link the students with the town, and everyone intermingles. And they have the cellar bar there, which is an amazing basement kind of space. You make of it what you want to. And it's actually where that whole cellar bar and that whole kind of students' union is where Footlights started, which is a bit of history for you, which is Stephen Fry and all his gang.
Yeah. I know a little bit about that. Yeah.
So that's where they started. That's where they used to meet and do all their kind of sketch preparation and plans and all that sort of stuff.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. I'm just going to say hello to a couple of people. We've got Scotty Boy, who has helped organise the events that we've done up in Edinburgh. We've done 2 events in Edinburgh. We've got Double P, who's playing at the event, and also his son, Minimal P, who's one of the 45 kids. We've got Cut Class, who's coming along, and also his other half, Constance K. So both of them are playing. So it's good to see everyone at the moment. So the venue sounds quite cool. It sounds good. And it's going to be from 3 p.m. in the afternoon till 2 a.m. And the kids are going to be doing well. We're going to have a little taster session, aren't we? So if any kids want to come along and have a go, I guess that can be open to adults as well. There's people who might never have DJed before. So I suppose if an adult turns up and wants to just play a record, then we're not going to say no, are we?
And you don't have to bring your own records. I'll have loads. We've got like a record fair, so like you can actually have a go. Play someone else's records. Yeah,
exactly. And so we've got that from about 3 till 4:30, and then we've got the 45 kids. We've got Minimal P, then we've got my daughter's Easy 45, and then we've got Jar T, haven't we? So there are sort of 3 45 kids, and then the adults sort of take over after that. And we've got loads of DJs. We've got people from the 45 Kings Collective.
We've got about 16. Is it 16? 16 or
yeah.
something? Yeah.
We've got some 45 Kings. We've got some 45 Queens, and you've got some DJs from Cambridge, which is great. And we're all playing 45s, which is going to be a lot of fun. And the main thing is, like with most of our events, we always try and do a sort of link up with a charity because, we've got a bit of a platform and, we like to be able to give back and spread the word and sort of help. So hence where Josh comes in, we linked up with SOS Chlldrens Villages. So Josh, over to you a little bit. So do you want to tell us, what the charity does, first of all, and then we can sort of talk about how people can get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So SOS Chlldrens Villages is basically an international development NGO or a non-governmental organisation, and our main focus is to help kids who have lost parental care. Right. So this could be because of war or environmental disaster, man-made disaster, or even just poverty. We're actually the biggest NGO in the world that focuses specifically on kids. We're in 137 different countries, but nobody in the UK has ever heard of us before, which is a bit of a shame. So hopefully after some events like this, we'll be able to change that.
Definitely. And how long have you been working with the charity?
So I've been with the charity for about a year now, but yeah, it's been an interesting year. We're kind of going through a lot of changes at the moment. Our UK office is based in Cambridge, and we're quite small, but we're kind of growing and expanding all the time. And but internationally, like I say, we're in 137 new countries. The organisation was originally founded in Austria after the Second World War,
right?
And since then, it's just expanded. Yeah.
And if people want to find out more, obviously we put the link up, so people can find out more from going to the website, can't they? soschildrensvillages.org.uk. And obviously, if people want to donate, they can go to that link, and obviously there's donate buttons. But we're also going to be asking people at the later part of the evening, if they come at a later evening, to sort of pay on the door, and all of that will go towards all of the sort of process of that will go towards the charity.
I think it's after 8 p.m, isn't it, Criztoz? After 8 p.m.
After 8 p.m. But what's it like for you guys? Obviously, we've dealt with other charities, and I think half of it is obviously helping to raise funds, but also the other half is sort of raising awareness. So what's it like for you in terms of charities, and what can people do to help?
Well, in terms of obviously helping us with our work, like I say, we don't actually run any programs in the UK, but in the countries that we are in, we've kind of got three different ways in which we kind of work with the kids in those countries. So one of them is prevention. So we take the approach that prevention is better than the cure. So if we can kind of go into these communities or work with the local community and people there to try and stop these families breaking up in the first place, that's obviously the best sort of approach we can take. So this will be family strengthening programs, employment programs for the kids, for the parents, education, healthcare, counselling, anything that they need in order to try and keep that family unit together. Obviously, we recognise that in some cases that's just not possible. So therefore, we also have our village programs, which are basically like self-built or purpose-built children's villages, which will contain any number of SOS houses. Each SOS house will have an SOS mother who will be an employee of ours, but they're drawn from the local community. So it's about kind of, community empowerment at the same time.
Yeah. And,
the kids will basically go to live in these villages. There'll be an SOS school, SOS medical center. And it's about trying to sort of recreate that family, foundation, that family environment to give these kids the best possible chance that they can have in life. And then the third way that we work with kids is in our emergency response. So we've been quite active in Ukraine. We've actually got programs in Aleppo in northern Syria at the moment, which have been affected by the terrible earthquake that's happened out there.
Yeah.
So in terms of how people in the UK can help us, obviously spreading the word about SOS Chlldrens Villages work, but also, if they can support us through donations, most of the money that they donate will go to one of these three sort of streams of support, if you will. So if you can go on our website.
An important sort of link to what we do, obviously completely different, but obviously you mentioned community, and like you say, it's obviously building these communities that help each other. It's really important, and obviously we've sort of built a community online of people through music and all the rest of it, and in a completely different way, but obviously we've helped each other through sort of mental health issues and talked about mental health, but again, community is so important, and it's great to hear that's one of the main things that you guys are focusing on, because we need it. We all need community, and especially if you haven't got a family, community's the next best thing that you can have to having family and friends, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, like you say, community empowerment in a lot of these parts of the world where, they've been devastated by war or whatever it is, the community is kind of quite fragmented there. So being able to go in and sort of, provide funding and sort of, I guess, training to these communities so that they can help themselves and bring everyone up together. That's obviously a good thing. So.
Yeah, definitely. And how did you guys sort of connect? Was it through Cambridge?
Yeah, it's Cambridge. I think I've known Josh for about, hold on, how are you?
Long time.
About 12 years. No, longer than that.
Maybe longer, to be honest. I think maybe what would have been maybe 15 years or so.
15 years, yeah. And again, because it's through the party scene. It's through the music scene in Cambridge. Yeah.
Josh, you were telling me that there's been some sort of jungle nights in the past at in the basement of the Orator and things like that.
Yeah. They've done jungle drum and bass nights there. Like Yvette was saying earlier, the jungle drum and bass scene in Cambridge used to be really, pretty vibrant. It's still going strong, but I guess it's kind of more focused on, like recently they did hospitality at the Junction, so it's more the kind of these big nights now rather than the sort of smaller, sort of community.
That's sort of smaller, dirty basement, sweaty walls.
We used to like back in the day. It's about the time when I met Josh. When I first started DJ 17 years ago now, I was playing vinyl. I wasn't playing digital. I started a night in Cambridge called Uptight, based on Stevie Wonder, and it ran for 10 years. And for the first 5 years, it was pure vinyl that we played, and these were in like the kind of dirty, dingy kind of like venues in Cambridge, and it was all like funk, soul, Motown. It started off that way, and then literally after about 5 years, it then went into funk, soul, Motown, and then at the end of the night would be breakbeat. And breakbeat was a big scene in Cambridge for a while. But the funny thing is that you're saying about sweaty places, is that when I first started the night with this lad called Dom, I actually walked past. It was on an old website of mine, which I think is defunct now, the Uptight DJ's website. And I walked past a venue in Cambridge, and it was a techno night that I knew of. But I went in, and this lad was playing Motown as a warm-up, and I was like, that is amazing. He's playing like vinyl Motown as a warm-up to a techno night. So I started, and it was the same weekend as Glastonbury. I can't remember exactly what year it was, but it was the Glastonbury weekend. So I went in, I started chatting to him. I was like, do you want to put on an event? Because I love this music. Anyway, he assumed I DJ'd, which I didn't at the time. We got together, we put on a night, we originally called it the Sweatbox. Because it was like literally like, because back in the day, my dad used to say when he used to go to Motown nights in Cambridge, mods into their Motown, it used to be proper sweat boxes, you know. So we called it that, but then we found out that some other event was called the Sweatbox, so we called it Uptight, and literally that is how I started my career in music.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And obviously, what we're doing just a 45s event, and we're pushing no sort of format. We're just sort of no sort of genre. I mean, we're sort of letting everyone do what they want. So it's been interesting when we've done it at other places. So I'm hoping Cambridge is sort of open to it, because it isn't your sort of it's going to be one genre all night, or
it's very different.
It's going to build. It's going to be quite a mixture, and certainly most of the 45 Kings and Queens and the kids, it's quite eclectic sets, even just through like a half an hour set. So is anything like this sort of happened in Cambridge before?
No, I wouldn't say so. I literally wouldn't say so. I think everyone is what people are used to is the kind of like the genre specific sets, and you go to a particular night, or a night will kind of start with one thing and blend into another, like, your funky soul disco into like house, or you kind of like hip hop and into drum and bass, But in terms of like massively eclectic and kind of all over the place, I love it. It's what my whole record collection is. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how that's taken, and whether obviously it's an 11-hour event. So we're staying there for a whole 11 hours. I don't know how many other people. I don't know how many other people will. It's about the stamina. But I think it'll be interesting, because the whole point, and a lot of work I've done in music before, is to open up other genres of music to people that would never have necessarily gone out to that night before, that event before. So education, because if you're into music, it's about appreciating other things that you don't necessarily choose to listen to, and that's always been my vibe with music.
Yeah, because it's one of the things not a barrier as such, but it's one thing we've had, because it's difficult to explain to people what we do. Because you say you play 45s, and people are like, oh, that's interesting. And then you say, what we play? You're like, okay, well, we play reggae, hip hop, Latin, funk, world music, all sorts of stuff. And it's difficult to sort of get people's attention necessarily. But I think until someone comes along to an event and sees the sort of vibe, and the fact is, it's all good music. It's just different styles. But it's all played with passion, because people have had to go out and buy these records in the first place, and we've only got 30-minute sets each, so it's going to be sort of all killer, no filler, because you haven't got time to sort of play that sort of 10-minute blend or music or whatever. You've got to pick tunes that will get people going. And there's a little bit of sort of friendly competitiveness, not that anyone's competing, but it's definitely something that people are going to want to play, certainly within the 45, stuff that other people won't have or won't have heard or not. Tommy T's just stepped in. He's playing as well. So it's going to be a good night. But yeah, so what have you got? Got any idea what you're going to be playing yet?
Well, I think I'll give them. Oh God, no, it's really difficult. My brain just went sideways there. No, I don't actually, because I'm later on in the evening.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be doing my kind of like funk and soul kind of like slower. But what I'm going to do, and it's one of those things where I don't care if people don't like it. I've got loads of proper 80s beats, like even Janet Jackson. What can you do for me? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and then I've got some up there like Gypsy Woman. I've got there's loads of like 80s beats and Bizarre Inc, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the beauty
80s and 90s beats. I think that's what I'm going to go for.
Yeah. We got Funky Flavors as well. He's playing so as well. I think the beauty of it is almost anything goes. We did Brighton at the weekend, and
how's that going?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It got quite busy towards the end. DJ One of a Kind came along, and he's playing at Cambridge as well. And we've had this little bit of a joke because there's the song by the Muppets, Phenomena. You know that song?
Yeah.
So I play it for Double P because it always makes him laugh, and it's good for his mental health and everyone else's. But he said, "I've got a song for you," and he played a Panamanian version of Phenomena. Thinking it would be like a bit of a joke, but then he put it on, and it's actually quite funky. It's obviously Panamanian, so it's sort of world music, and people were dancing. I was like,
"Oh my goodness!"
You can basically play what you want as long as it's played from the heart with passion, and is good music. I think that's what allows you with 45 to just play whatever you want.
I think we mentioned it when I did the chat with you, the mental health kind of chat thing you do, and you're like, I've still got it, and I can't believe I've got the Birdie song. By the tweets, but I won't be playing that at the end of the night.
That's Double P's other favourite song.
I've still got it from when I was I think it must have been about 4 when someone bought it for me. Do you know what I mean? So probably Benidorm holiday track that one. Yeah.
Yeah. He sent me a link earlier. He's got a T-shirt that says on it, which is it's just sort of like a little intro.
How do you spell that?
Well, there's MANA or there's MNAH, I think. There's different ways, but it's one of those songs that we always have a laugh at. And the whole thing is it's about being uplifting and coming back to community and sort of having something that makes people smile and laugh is always going to be helpful. Josh, have you ever been a DJ? Have you done anything?
When I was younger, I did actually have some vinyl decks that I got. Okay. I think from. Like there were some, they weren't particularly good ones. They were like Geminis, I think, Gemini TPO2s or something. I got when I was about 18, and I tried for a little bit, but I could never get the beat matching down, basically. So, but I'm a drummer. That's my instrument of choice.
Oh, so interesting. Yeah. Well, drumming's hard,
Well, I think mixing beat matching is harder than drumming. So
that must be super frustrating though if you're a drummer and then you couldn't get the beats down. But then it's
different though. Like when I'm drumming, I'm drumming one beat, or one. I'm not drumming 2 different beats at the same. Well, I suppose you kind of are in a way, but. I've got one track on my mind if I'm drumming, whereas not like merging 2 tracks together and kind of. When
I first started, though, I mean, that's something I always say to people, and it's about the whole point about people coming along to try out the decks as well, Criztoz, is like, for the first 3-4, when I first started, because I wasn't even meant to DJ, it was all by mistake, I didn't even know what a crossfader was. I had to ask the sound engineer at our first gig how to make it go from that thing to that thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what decks were called. I had like a flat pack Philips stereo player at home and like vinyl player. But the point being is you just crossfade. It's all about, if you don't know how to beat match, it doesn't matter. It's just about the tunes that you like and you crossfade.
Yeah, exactly. And the beauty of 45s and how we DJs, we've got people who are sort of DMC world champion turntablist. We've got people who've never really DJed or done a mix before. We've got selectors. We don't discriminate. We're inclusive. We let as many people as we want get involved, even if it's literally just playing one record and then queuing up the next one and then playing it. Hence where the 45 kids sort of come into it, because we've talked about this again before. It seems more technical than it is, but unless you're beat matching or blending or whatever, playing one record on this deck, queuing up this one and playing it is actually manageable for kids. I know kids are really great on computers and all the rest of it, but you don't have Serato or Traktor and having to look at digital files and crates and all the rest of it. So on a base level, it's quite an easy thing for kids to pick up. And it's
You've sold it to me, Criztoz. I might jump on the deck and have a go myself.
I was going to say, yeah. Well, we have got this slot between 3 and half.
Right.
Like I said, adults can jump on too. So
I think we might have to do that. And it's like you said, it's like accessible for kids, but also for anyone. Like I've done some workshops with them because it's so tactile. I mean, I find that because it's tactile, I've got a sight loss. The tactileness of vinyl is really helpful for me. Apart from I used to not be able to see the vinyl and play the wrong side, but that's really helpful. And I've done a few workshops with autistic kids and with kids with sight loss with vinyl, because it's so much more tactile and just you can feel your way around it. And I think, and by the way, just to add, I can beat match now. I don't just crossfade anymore. But that's the joy of vinyl, because it is you feel it, and I think therefore you kind of it's real, and the covers, just having those things is just so important.
Yeah, and I think you make some interesting points, because obviously we discussed on the mental health show when you came on about the sight issues that you've had and what you've done in terms of clubs for sight impaired people, but also, like you say, with kids, especially with 45s, because they're much smaller. It's about the right size, and also, like you say, there's only generally 2 tracks, so it's either one track or the other. But it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's much more fun. And I'm being sort of ironic that we're looking at a screen, and when we stream now, we're looking at screens. But the whole point of getting back into vinyl DJing was to try and get away from looking at a laptop or looking at a CDJ, and be a lot more present in DJing, because obviously you only got 3 minutes between that track and that track.
I was going to say that actually you say it's fun, but actually you kind of end up because when when you DJ, you've got a bit of time to dance to the tunes that you're loving and stuff. It's like there's only 2 minutes. So it's so quick. You've got to be like really quick off the mark when you do a 45 set.
Yeah, exactly. There's no time, but so hopefully we'll get some kids down and do that, and it will be interesting to meet Jarty, and it's his dad A-Man as well.
That's right. There's kind of son father duo, which I think you've got, and it's nice. It's really nice.
We've got a little bit of that going on. We've got Minimal P, who's DJing, as well as Double P, and they did actually Lady Pitsy, so Minimal P's mum as well. DJ, she's one of our 45 queens, and we did a parent and kids stream last weekend, and we had all 3 of them, so it was a real family affair, mum, dad and kid all DJing in 45 minutes, and then we've got obviously my daughter Azizi and me, and then we've got JRT and A-Man. We're hoping to get a couple more, but logistics didn't quite work out. We're hoping to get Olive D down with funky flavours, but didn't. But I'm just going to run through who we have got DJing with some set times. So we got 4:30 Minimal P, we got 5 o'clock ZZ, we got 5:30 JRT, we've then got Dad Amen, and then we've got Constance K, Danny Bounce, got Joe Waller from Cambridge, Double P, then we've got Mr. B from Cambridge, then we've got Cut Class, who's Constance K's husband, so we've got a husband and wife team, and we've got Bozak, Funky Flavours, Lady Melzer, me, Tommy T, DJ One of a Kind, you, and then we've got an hour that we've left at the end for a bit of slippage with set times, but also what we might do and what we've done at the Brighton events is towards the end we've done 3 tracks each, whoever's sort of still around and wants to.
Still standing,
three tracks, and that's been quite fun, because 3 tracks is about 10 minutes, and it's like quite interesting to write what 3 tracks am I going to choose, and then someone drops something, and then you sort of change everything else. But I'm just looking at a couple of comments. Let's have a look what Tommy T's saying. His reason for getting into vinyl was he hated the paradox of choice on digital, having thousands of tunes but never knowing what to play next. Box of 145 is so much easier. That's very true. That is very true, because what I used to find is you'd have your crates or your playlists, but then you'd end up almost falling back onto them. So you'd be out playing something, you're like, oh, well, that track worked last week, I'm just going to play that track again. And not necessarily spending the time to fill a record box that you would normally. But it's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So hopefully we can get some people coming along. But yeah, so any last thoughts about Saturday? Anything people need to know? Anything we need to let them know about?
But no, record fair.
Record fair, yeah. So the plan is to have a record fair between sort of 3 and 6. I know Andre's going to bring some 45s along, and I think you've got a couple of record
dealers. Couple of people, yeah. So
yeah, you can, if you're watching this back, you can either come early and catch some of the kids, have a go on the record fair, or if you want more of a party, then obviously that's in the evening. But obviously, we'd like you to be there for the whole thing. But I'm sure it'll just be me and you, Yvette, for the whole thing.
Yeah, that's it.
And
Josh,
be there
of course,
for the whole thing.
Josh, be the three of us, so we can teach Josh how to DJ again.
Exactly.
But no,
and speak of the devil, DJ one of a kind, there he is. Yeah, bring your records for sale.
Yes, exactly. And then basically with the record sale, some proceeds from that is going to go to the SOS Chlldrens Villages as well. So after 8, it's free before 8 o'clock. Also, any children of any age can come before 8 o'clock.
Yep.
So it's a family event right until 8 o'clock. And after 8, it's over 18s, because it's the way it is in the evenings. And then we're going to do a $5 on the door, which goes straight to the charity.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. Promo video is going to be coming out in the next couple of days.
Yay, cool.
And it's going to be fun. And I think it's the whole, for us, the social element and the connections and the hanging out and the networking and planning more events. That's usually what we end up doing. We're like, oh yeah, where do we do something else after that? So
it's a really real boring fact, actually, that I think the point needs to mention is that for people, obviously, it's going to be, hopefully like a bit of a big Cambridge contingency coming down to support the event and to come in so they know Cambridge. But for anyone coming in from outside of Cambridge, it's really kind of like pedestrianised in Cambridge now.
Right.
And there was a car park right next to the actual venue kind of a couple of years ago. Best to get the park and ride in.
Park and ride, okay.
Yeah. Cool. Logistics note there.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Josh, any last thoughts before we go?
Well, just I'll be there all night as well. So if anyone's got any questions about what SOS Chlldrens Villages does, by all means, come and have a chat with me. And it'll be a good night. I'm looking forward to it.
You're going to bring some little giveaways as well, aren't you, Josh?
Yeah, I'll be bringing some badges and stuff like that for the kids. And there'll be, information flyers and stuff there on the night as well. And if anyone wants to check out the website, it's soschildrensvillages.org.uk. So thank you.
Cool. It's going to be good. Right. Let me just set the raid. We're going to see the birthday boy. He was meant to be coming, but unfortunately, he has been booked to play in Gloucester, I think, that night, sadly. So we'll have to get Sam back to another Cambridge one because he would be pretty perfect with the rave 45s towards the end because that's what he's been doing pretty much.
Oh, nice.
His DJ career. But yeah, let me just set that raid, make sure that's going through. Yeah, that's working. Cool.
Perfect.
But yeah, thank you so much. It's great to sort of link up in this format. Thank you to all the DJs who've popped into the chat. I'm looking forward to meeting up with everyone on the 25th. It's going to be a lot of fun, lots of cool music. I'm sure lots of stories, lots of nerdy talking about records.
It'd be nice to meet everyone in person. I've only ever met you online, Criztoz. So,
yeah, exactly. It's, you have to put on these events to sort of meet up with people these days, which is good. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll raise some money for the SOS Chlldrens Villages, and basically it's just about having good vibes. So, right, thank you everyone. We're going to raid out, and if you guys just hang on there for a minute, we'll have a quick after.
See you all on the 25th.
Yeah, take it easy.
See you on the 25th.
Right.